Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the Pedro and Hannibal podcast on a special Tuesday evening. A lot of things going on right now in terms of really busy trying to get certain things done. So, my good friend and partner in crime, Pedro, has been very flexible with me. I would like to thank him right now, right off the bat, and ask him how is he doing on this fine Tuesday evening.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. You always come in with the sexy voice in the beginning, which is which is
Let's
funny.
go, ladies. How many ladies we got out there tonight? Let's go. Let's go. Hit that like button, baby.
But you know what? We have a few. I'm surprised because from the last live we did, there was actually a few that
Yeah.
actually enjoyed the content, and so it's great that everyone is here. We appreciate. We already have a few people already in. I see PPP. I know I'm familiar with him. I know he checks out your channel. Um, we're gonna get right into it. There's a lot to
Yeah.
talk about, but
Let's go.
actually, no, we're not gonna get into it. I want to know what you're listening to first. I always ask you, what are you listening to? What you're bumping in the trunk? In the
So
trunk? I don't know.
I took your recommendation on the Joey Badass, the
Oh
album
yes.
that, yeah, and I had forgotten about him. So I had listened to him before. I forgot, what I loved about it right off the jump. So this was what's today? So I think it was Saturday or Sunday when I was listening to it. P. Diddy's in there. I'm like, Puff Daddy, what? Puff,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
coming in, he's talking. I'm like, this is like, it's bringing nostalgia back for me, right?
Throwback,
Because
yes.
that's what Puff Daddy does best. He comes
Yeah.
in with those little can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, P. Diddy. Yeah, I'm like, oh yes, I want some more of that.
Yeah.
And then Joey Badass is he's got a little skit in there, and I don't know if you caught it. He's showing some love to my big homie, Big Pun.
Yeah.
He has
Yeah. I remember that.
and I'm like,
I don't
oh,
know you,
okay.
man.
I
If you
don't
did
know you,
you.
man. Like, and it brought me right back to that video that was made from that song right after Pun died. And a part of that video, that's J Lo that says that. That's
Yeah.
J Lo that mimics that. And I'm like, all right, Joey Badass, I see what you're doing. I like it. I like it. It's hip hop. It's East Coast, and it's a good album, man. I listened to the whole thing, and so that's what I was listening to the last, I guess, 4 days or so. So
You
yeah.
know what? I appreciate you because that's exactly what I was going to talk about. Like that was the album that I listened to the last couple of days, and it kind
Hmm.
of popped. I've heard. I think I checked it out somewhere on social media that he released the album. I was like, oh, let me check him out because,
Yeah.
like you said, he don't make albums yearly like everybody else does. I think it's been 5 years actually since his last album, and yeah, I've had the same vibes, the nostalgic,
Yeah.
kind of bringing it back to 20 years ago, basically. I mean, it's funny the album is called 2000,
Yeah.
and you know, he's a very, I mean, in terms of his skills, he's versatile. He can tell a story. He can, talk, boast like everybody else.
Yeah.
His versatility is strong. And yeah, he bring the beats. Everything felt very throwback. It was like a throwback
Mm,
album, and I enjoyed it. Yeah, it's one
yeah.
of my favorite albums of the year. It's just not necessarily like one song that is big separate from the other songs, but it's just a continue of like a really good, well crafted. You can
Yeah.
tell he put time in this, and you can tell that he's a young man, which is interesting. Even Nas, he had a little cameo, maybe call it cameo, but even he jumped in,
Yeah.
praising him. Like there's a lot of people that really understand it. He has skills. He just
Oh,
for some
yeah.
reason he doesn't put the same amount of, I guess, music out there. But yeah, definitely enjoyed that album a lot.
Yeah. Good
Um,
recommendation, man. It was good.
oh yeah, and then another one I was listening to. Do you know Big Crit is?
I feel like I've heard the name, but I have not heard any of that music. Not that I'm aware of. Sometimes I hear something, I'm like, who is that? And I don't know, but I'm
There's a
not.
there's
Yeah.
there's probably a song from him. Country shit. You know that one?
I don't think so.
You know what? That's your homework. You're gonna check out
Okay.
Big Crit.
Got it.
He
Got it.
is one of the best rappers out of Mississippi, and Mississippi rappers don't get a lot of shine, obviously, because it's not you're not in the big, you're not in the West Coast or you're in the East Coast or Midwest or down south, like. But in terms of like Mississippi, a very talented rapper. He does a little bit of singing. You do a little the rap skills is on next level. He's like one of
Mm.
those guys. You're like, why is he not more famous than he is? It's not all David Banner, David
That's
Banner.
just gonna say David Banner's at Mississippi. Am I crooked letter I humpback?
David,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's him.
which is
Yeah.
it's funny you said that. That's the only way I know how to spell Mississippi. If it
That's the
wasn't for
only way
that,
anybody knows
I
how.
would not like. You could tell when you want to learn something, make it to a song because I can spell Mississippi because of David Banner saying that. Like I used to play Def Jam Fight for New York, and you could the rappers are basically characters you pick to fight. And every time I would pick David Banner, that's his victory speech. And like he just every time he wins and does his victory speech, that's it. I'm like, oh, that's how you spell Mississippi. Okay. But yeah, Big Crit, Kirt, big, very talented rapper. There's a lot of tracks. I couldn't even necessarily tell you. He still makes a lot of music. Very talented dude. So those are my two that I was been listening to.
Okay.
All right. So you want to talk about another up and coming rapper, athlete / rapper that's coming up in the game that was able.
Let me see. Go ahead. What is he able to do?
The ability of a man to not necessarily have a major album out or a major single, to have a set in Rolling Loud. Now, in case you guys don't know what Rolling Loud is, it's one of the biggest music festivals of the year. Biggest.
Yeah, it was a big.
Probably got to spend $300 for tickets for, I think, for a weekend, but it's probably even more. So it's a lot of people, a lot of money, big acts. They had, I think they had Kanye, but I think he stepped out.
Yeah, Kid Cudi took his spot.
Kid Cudi, yeah, he had.
Yeah, and then he got water bottles thrown at him, and he's like, "I'm getting out of here."
The worst.
He got mad.
People are the worst, but
people are
the biggest rap acts in the country. You know, all the major stars. And this particular person was able to get a set. Pedro, you brought this idea. You brought this story to me.
Don't blame me. You signed off on it. No. Okay. So listen, y'all. Listen. This is what Hannibal's getting to. Okay. Let me just break the ice real quick. Antonio Brown. The last time we saw him on a football field, he's chucking up the deuces, taking up all his clothes, and I'm out of here because he didn't like the way the coaches were talking to him, and he said he had a bum ankle, and he's like, I ain't doing this. And peaced out. After Tom Brady basically said, come live with me in Tampa. I'll take care of you. Got a Super Bowl ring, and then he's ghosted his team in the middle of a game, which to me is absolutely absurd. In my personal opinion, I don't know the conversations that were happening, but on that football field, but
he could have handled that better.
He could have handled it better. But at the end of the day, now he's out there doing all these podcasts, going all over the place, wants to be a rapper. Now, he's rapped before. He's actually had songs out or whatever, maybe mixtape level, not a CD that I'm aware of. But while he was like even in Pittsburgh, he would rap, and I'm going to rap. I want to rap. Okay. And now he's like, done with football, not done with football. He's at Rolling Loud. He's doing this. He's dressing kind of wild, in my opinion.
He looks like a rapper.
He looks like a rapper. He's got the chains. He's got he looks like I don't know what he looks like. He looks a little wild. He looks crazy, but he's living that life. He's obviously got money, whatever. But he's doing his dance. I saw it and I was like, this is really cringy. And then I'm thinking, either Antonio Brown has lost his mind, one too many hits on the football field, which is a serious thing, happens to a lot of people. CTE, right, Hannibal? I think it's a thing, right?
It's a thing.
Or he is the smartest guy in the room, and he's like, all right, I'll just be a rapper now. I'm going to get attention. I'm going to be TikTok famous. I'm going to go viral. I don't know, but man, I wish he would just put the cleats back on and play football because he's so good. I mean, he's one of the best route runners in the history of the National Football.
Yeah, he's already he's a Hall of Famer. Like whenever he decides to retire, he's a Hall of Famer. Yeah. Big headache, extremely terrible. Like he's a big problem in the locker room. Yeah. And Mike Tomlin is one of the greatest coaches ever, and he couldn't hold him. He couldn't contain his nonsense for too long. But yeah, one of the greatest receivers. I mean, it is messed up that he quit on the team. Obviously, Bruce Arians is probably was not the easiest coach to deal with, but him leaving put the Bucs in a bad spot, and that's probably one of the reasons. Well, many reasons. One of the reasons why they probably didn't make it back to the Super Bowl. But
yeah,
but he wants to rap, and hey, listen, you want to try new things, more power to you. And I have 1 minute of his performance. It was a 9-minute set. 9 minutes.
Okay.
Only a person of his ability to be, he was such a great football wide receiver, still can probably play. It was like, okay, you want to get a little set somewhere, we'll let you do whatever.
Well, yeah, because they know it's going to garner attention. So regardless if he's good or not, like people are going to watch, maybe not even live, right? But they're going to watch. It's going to go on social media. So
yeah. So let's play a little bit of it. It's about a minute, and we'll give our critique on the, a little bit of the performance. Let's do that right now.
Jump in the coupe with no mileage. Run it, style it. I'm from the pit, not the palace. I gotta run it, style it. Hit on the gas, make it grind it.
Let's go, we're gonna get in our bag, free wide style. Shout out for you to being out here today, making some noise for me. Make some noise if you rocking with me today. Let's go. Let's go.
Living in a
Big duffel bag. They got Rarries, got Benzes, got Reds. They like talk all got hoes on the day. I'm from block, now my bitches are red. What you say?
Get my bag, 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 get my bag.
What you say? I got these fucking sluts. My bitch drive a troll with him on the butt. I'm about to catch me a nut. Whole world calling me nut. I got that fan slut. I'm got that pepper in the smell. Fucking no combo still.
Okay, you want me to go first? You're gonna go first.
Well, I'll just say one thing. He's a caricature of rap music. Like, he is what people use as the stereotype of a rapper. He lives the life of a rapper. He's a multimillionaire. He probably hangs out with artists. He does the things. He's hanging out with women. He spends money. He's having, but he is a cartoon character of what rap is, of what hip hop is. So, I mean, you can go ahead.
I mean, I don't know what else to say. I think you just summed it up. Thanks, man. Yeah, I'll say this. He looks like a rapper. He's, acting like a rapper. It's not my kind of. It's not the kind of rap I would listen to.
Thumbs
Yeah,
down.
there you go. Yeah, it is a thumbs down. It could be worse. I've seen a lot more cringy, worse rap. I have on whatever different social media platforms, whatever. I've seen worse, but I don't know. He's not. Something ain't right, man. Something ain't right. He's been hit hard a few times. Something's not right.
Destroyed his that was one of the most violent hits I've ever seen. I've seen many sports, mixed martial arts, and other that hit was devastating. And people say one hit doesn't do it. First of all, many football players are getting hit every Sunday and not taking a break. Some of them are having headaches. They're having concussions and not having them treated and going right back out there because it's about the team. It's about winning. I think in the future, hopefully he's able to live a long life. When they check his brain, just like a lot of other ones, Aaron Hernandez, Junior Seau.
Yeah.
They're gonna say your brain, because I think Aaron Hernandez had a brain of a 70-something-year-old. That's how much damage was on it. Like I think did he make it to 30? I don't even know.
Good question. Right around that age, I think. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure.
And it could be just he wants to live that lifestyle. See, the difference between him and like Deion Sanders. Yeah, Deion was a cringeworthy rapper too, but man, when he played football, it was football.
Yeah. And Deion was having fun. Like, I don't know. I guess Antonio Brown's having fun. It looks like he's having fun. It's just, I don't know, man. It's probably for selfish reasons. He's such a good football player. You want to see him. He's a competitor, and he's, you know what I mean? Like, when he plays, I remember when he went to New England, didn't have a mini camp with the team, just went in, had a few practices. He went out there and balled out. Like, the first game, he had a touchdown, a couple catches. Like, he's a guy that can impact the football game immediately because of his route running and his
open.
Football IQ. He can get open. And it's just like, selfishly, you want to see a guy do something that is really good. You don't want to see him on a stage like that. He looks like a cartoon character. And it's not, I think he's a little smarter than that, I think. And I don't know, man. It's just, we have enough rappers that do that. So it's like you're not offering any other value, right? But when you play football, not a lot of guys can do that.
No,
but at the end of the day,
either.
Exactly. But at the end of the day, you can do what you want, make your money, whatever. But for me, it's a waste of a talent, and it just is. So,
do you think he'll ever go back and play football again?
I think I could see him playing football in a different league, like that. There's a what do you call it? Like a fans controlled league that Terrell Owens plays in. There's
Yeah.
a XFL. I could see him doing something like that.
You don't
Arena
have to pay him
football.
though.
No, they'll pay him. Yeah, he won't make
Yeah.
what he'd make in the NFL. But even at the NFL, he's like a lower level contract for a veteran. There's like veteran minimums with a lot of incentives when he went to Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Do I think he'll play in the NFL? Absolutely not. I don't think most teams will touch him with the 10-foot pole. So
Yeah. I mean, he looked like he still work out. He didn't look, he looked pretty.
he looks
decent.
good. He looks good. Yeah.
It depends on how desperate teams are. But right now, it don't look like they care. They look like they don't want to deal with his nonsense.
Yeah.
But you know what? Stranger things have happened. I think he'll come back to the team. He'll come back to NFL somehow. I don't know.
Do you think he'll come back this year?
No, probably.
So you
not.
think I see if I think of anything, I mean, coming back, losing a whole year like that and getting a little bit older, a little bit slower. I don't know. Like he'd have to come back this year.
You know what? You're right.
Playoff team.
The longer you're not back, the longer you stay
they
out
forget about you.
They'll forget about you, and you get older. I still think so. You know what? Somehow, some team is going to be crazy enough to sign him. That's my bet. I'm not putting any money on it though. But
It'll probably be. What are you, a Giants fan or a Jets fan?
Giants. But
Okay.
I love all my New York teams, but they're gonna suck. I don't think it would be a bad idea. Don't put AB in a bad team. It has to be a contending team, a team with a strong coach that can rile him in and like I said, rent him. Hey, we're pretty close to Super Bowl. Just don't be retarded for 2 seconds.
If any team, I could see the Chiefs. Let's say somebody gets hurt, Andy Reid, and that team's kind of well managed and put together. I can see, and they'll be contenders. Maybe the Buffalo Bills, like a team that is the contenders. Is we'll give you $500,000 for 6, 7, 8 games. What can you do? The Buccaneers just signed Julio Jones, so he ain't going back to the Bucs. Like that's just not happening.
No, that's over.
I'd rather see him on a football field than dancing on a stage like that. But that's just me. So
I hear that. And too bad I don't have a really good smooth transition to the next story. But at least if he was a plumber or a delivery person, in terms of the ability of the quality of your, I guess, competition, as JJ Reddick said. From the old folks disrespecting the old heads of the NBA. And let me take a step back. JJ Reddick, I saw the NBA player, good role player, shoot the three. He was a bigger star in college. He was like a big deal in college. Came to NBA as most players of his skin color.
Why are you laughing?
Because he was like, I would say for JJ Reddick, I remember when he was in college, I think he was playing for Duke, right?
He played for Duke. I think when he left at the time, he had the most points in the
NCAA. So he was like one of them. Like, oh, he's going to actually do some damage because the way they made it, they hyped him up in college. I'm like, he's going to be it. Next white hope. He's going to, and he was just a guy. But good career. If he had him on your team, you loved his 3-point shooting. He played hard. He cared. And he's doing great as a podcast. He's on First Take, and he said something that was very interesting about the players in the past. He was on First Take with I think Russo and Stephen A, and they were going back and forth. We'll just play right now. It's about a minute.
Yeah. Has Paul ever been first team all?
Did Bob Cousy ever shoot over 40% from the field?
Well, we understand that.
Did he overshoot? Did he ever shoot over 40%?
Probably 39, 40%. Different kind of game.
Not once.
Not
once.
That's fair. You also had 29 assists in an NBA game.
Oh, well, he was being guarded by plumbers and firemen.
Oh, come on.
That is true. That is true.
Doggy,
Doggy,
Hello.
Bob Cousy, best point guard ever.
There
is no doubt, Doggy.
He changed the game.
Stop
it. It's not played the way he changed the game. Cousy did.
Stop it. Chris Paul is one of the top 5 point guards. Chris Paul is one of the top 5 point guards in the history of basketball.
I got to think about that for a minute. That seems a little strong.
Hold on. Russo is him and Stephen A are characters, just like Antonio Brown is. I remember that take, and it was a horrible take by Russo because him saying Cousy and number one is like these old guys, like, and we're old dudes, but not that old. Like they got to stop with this like rhetoric of like Bob Cousy. Right now, I'll say it, and I don't care who. I'm sorry if you're a Celtics fan, if whatever. There are a handful of guys that played back in the day that I think could play right now, but we got to start separating eras. Bob Cousy would not make a NBA basketball roster right now. If you took Bob Cousy and put him in this era, he would not sniff an NBA roster. Fact.
Interesting.
He
Well,
wouldn't sniff it.
there's one person who may disagree with you. We're gonna play him right now. Jerry West, the logo.
The logo.
Well, you know what? It's 2.5 minutes, but we'll see what he has to say. I may cut off a little bit, but he responded. Actually, Cousy actually responded. I didn't know Cousy was alive. He did not appreciate the comment. Basically, he was like, we did what we had to do to take care of our families. That kind of thing where it's hard for JJ to kind of like, but Jerry West had his take, and let's hear it right now.
JJ Reddick, a current player who just recently retired, said that Bob Cousy played against firemen and plumbers, and Bob came on and wasn't too pleased. And you played in that era, and those guys set the table for us to be where we are today. And I was just interested in your thoughts on comments like that about your generation and the generations that paved the way.
Well, obviously the game is completely different. The athletes are completely different. And I know JJ just a little bit. He's a very smart kid and everything. But tell me what his career looked like. What did he do that determined games? He averaged 12 points a game in the league. Somewhere along the way, numbers count. At that point in time, the players aren't what they used to be. JJ certainly wasn't going to guard the elite players. And so you can nitpick anyone. And I'm not, the only reason I'm talking about him is because he was not an elite player, but he was a very good player. But he had a place on a team because of his ability to shoot the ball. But those players at that era, and again, that was when I started to see the difference in athleticism. My era, I was an athlete way before my time. I had a huge vertical. Probably no one in the league was much faster than me. And certainly the competitive part of it, I would put myself among any player that played the game. Today also, winning is all that matters. That's what drove me. And I subtly got better every year. We didn't have the facilities to get better. We had to work in the summers to support our family. But AJ should be very thankful that he's made as much money as he's made. And Bob Cousy, who I played against a couple of years, not very long, I just think it's very disrespectful myself.
All right. So Jerry West came in with he didn't have to go that deep. You could tell he had to go like, what JJ did. Like, what did he ever do? And you can't argue with JJ. You can't argue with Jerry West.
No, I really like Jerry West.
Yeah,
he has a lot of respect from a lot of people, young and old. I really like Jerry West.
Yeah, because you see the clips. He was balling on everybody. It wasn't just plumbers. He was balling on everybody. The guy. I mean, in terms of shooting guards, he's up there, right? I mean,
oh yeah.
But what's your thoughts? Is it more about respect of what we did in the past? Like, don't be so flippant. Like, don't just call us like, plumbers and firemen. Wait, because we had to. We didn't make millions of dollars a year.
Yes, I think Jerry and some of these older generations, they're just a little, they feel slighted, disrespected. Like, hold up, we helped you guys. Like the eras are different. And Jerry West even recognizes that it's different. And I think Jerry West would even say, he just said, I would stay good now. I'd be, I could play now. I don't know if Jerry West is averaging, there was one season, I think he averaged well into the 30s. I don't think he's doing that now. The game is quicker. It's played different.
Yeah.
Back then, he was one of the more athletic guys. Right now, he's not going to be the most athletic guy in the NBA.
No,
he's just not.
Yeah,
but back then he was.
He was able to have some shot creation skills. Like, he has like quick movements. Do I think he was 6'3", 6'4"?
I'm not sure. Yeah. He's probably somewhere in there. I think Jerry West is a better player for me than Bob Cousy was as far as in today's NBA. Exactly. We have to separate the eras. You got to do it in every sport. Baseball, like you got to do it. Football, like you see these guys now. They're bigger, they're faster, they're stronger with the help of technology, nutritionists, dietitians, with the help of better sports equipment, better sports medicine. So there are a lot of reasons for that, right? They're bigger and faster and stronger for a lot of reasons, but you can't take that away. Like if LeBron played in the 40s, I mean, he's scoring 60 a game. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody's guarding LeBron James back in the day. Nobody.
How about
right?
Wilt Chamberlain? Do you think Wilt Chamberlain, basically, he was the biggest, strongest, fastest? That's why he was.
Yes.
You think he was able to come to this era and all right, may not dominate like the way he did, score 100 and some points, but
Yeah, I don't know. Wilt Chamberlain
Chamberlain
didn't have a 3-point shot, but would he have gotten one? Yeah, there are a handful of guys I think you could take from those old eras and put them in and say they'd be probably as relevant. But even Wilt Chamberlain, I think he only won 1 or 2 championships. So he was that dominant, that size, but he didn't win as much as other guys.
Yeah.
So like,
if I had a list of people I think who could probably Kareem, because it doesn't matter what area, you're not stopping the hook, that sky hook. You're not going to stop it. He was maybe too slow, maybe because the game is a little speeder the way they put everyone in there, but he was an automatic bucket. I mean, you can't stop it. Obviously Jordan, clearly. Larry Bird, I think he could. Yeah, I mean it was the 80s, but I think
Larry Bird would be fine. He'd be like a better Luka. Like he's not a point guard like Luka is, but Larry Bird was big, very smart IQ, could shoot a 3 back in the day, but when there wasn't a lot of 3-point shooting being made. So yeah, there are some guys, but I think most like average players, whatever, like I'll give you JJ Redick. He scored 12 points a game, serviceable, had a great career, played for multiple teams.
Yeah.
Went to a couple Western Conference finals, I think with the Clippers or whoever, Pelicans, whoever. If he was playing back in Jerry West and Bob Cousy's era, his stats would have been even better. Right. Because he's just, the game has evolved, right? So we have to start separating them at some point. I don't know when that year is. I don't know if it's in the 70s, if it's the 80s, the 60s, but we got to separate, because back in the day, you look at like Julius Erving, right? Played in the ABA, goes to the NBA. He's in the 70s, the 80s, right? Wins a championship with the Sixers. He was like super athletic, right?
Yeah.
The things he were doing on the court was crazy. You see some of the dunks he was doing in the NBA. You see those in high school right now by high school kids. You never saw that in high school back in the day. So the athleticism is just on another level. So I think we have to just start separating these eras and not take it like one's better, one's worse. It's just there's got to be a divide, because the game has just evolved so much. So
yeah, and Bob Cousy was not the best point guard or whatever.
No, it's a bad take, but that Russo guy does that for effect. I mean, it's a horrible thing to say Bob Cousy is the best point guard of all time. There's not one other person you could find in this great land that's going to say that. Not one.
Maybe in Boston.
Maybe in Boston. But
you're probably some older dude. Like, he was a 29 assists. That's a lot. I would say that. A lot of assists.
Yeah, that is a lot of assists.
I'll give it that.
Come on.
Fair enough. So let's just get into the meat and potatoes of why we, put, Kevin Samuels in the beginning of the title here. So we want to talk about it because the relationships that, is between men and women I feel like there's a lot of conflict. I think it's conflict in everything now, political. Everyone's mad at everyone, but I really feel like relationships between men and women are having some kind of, they're having a problem, having some issues. It could be just the ability or just the times we're in where everyone is a little stressed out. I think the first thing I'll say before we jump into Kevin Samuels, I think the death of R&B is the cause of all these problems. Now, like I told you before, I saw a really great concert, the Tiny Desk concert with Usher, and he just hit all those classic R&B songs. And I'm like, man, what happened to R&B? Like, what's happening here where you don't have someone singing about loving somebody? Like, where's those songs? I think a lot of R&B now is basically kind of like sad, mopey. I don't know if you listen to Summer Walker or like some of these other like.
Who's the new Gideon? I've heard of this Gideon guy. You know about him, Gideon?
Super sad. Like, everyone's just super sad and depressed. It's like, I feel like your music does dictate your mood. And back in the 70s, so Al Green, you know what I mean? Like, Teddy Pendergrass, like all these really awesome soulful singers, Luther Vandross. even going to the 80s and 90s, you had your Usher, like Chris Brown could have made it if he wasn't so crazy and violent and such a crazy and violent person. Michael Jackson, like we don't have that kind of music that, it's just very, very, I guess, confrontational, either you're depressed or sad. So I think then it kind of translates to, well, if we're not getting along, we're all mopey and sad, then we're going to find out faults between men and women. We go back and forth. And you can find on YouTube people who don't have issues with women having issues with men. It's all over. That's why we're going to talk about Kevin Samuels. But what is your, if you had to ask why men and women are not getting along, what would be your answer?
Man, that's heavy.
Yeah, in the comments below, let us know what you guys think.
Let us know. Yeah, let us know. We can read some. This is gonna be a hot take, Hannibal. Okay. Since we're gonna talk about Kevin Samuel a little bit, I think the relationships have shifted over the course of years or whatever. Let's just go back 20, 30 years, right? When you think about old traditional relationships, right? Think about your grandparents, your great-grandparents, maybe even your parents, right?
Yeah.
And people weren't getting divorced back in the day, right? They were staking together. The roles were really defined. I think with the publications of things like Cosmo and these magazines and these books, the relationships have been changing because you have men and women now literally on different planets, right? Mars, Venus, whatever you want to call it. And you have men not acting quite like what a traditional man would be back in the day, right? That's changed. Women now want equal this, equal that, which we should have. But when you have so much of that going on, the dynamic of relationships and trying to find a partner that is going to mesh with you is changing, right? So divorce rates are up just about every year. The roles of men and women are shifting and evolving, and it's harder to find your real soulmate or somebody that can even just look marriage like a business, almost like, hey, we're going to do this together. Financially, we're on the same page, for the kids, jobs, like all that stuff, right? In the 80s, you started to have women going back to work or going to work. So then that split households because now you got all these latchkey kids and they're growing up as latchkey kids and then they have relationships and that's normal for them. You got to keep up with the Joneses. Both parents have to work because inflation is up and you got to have the new car. You got to have the house. You got to have a mortgage.
College is expensive.
College, exactly. So with expenses going up, now you have couples that are married or whatever, living together, both have to work. So when you have that kind of stuff, you're adding stress to your household that couples back in the day didn't have on that level financially, at least, right? So I think you just have men and women, they both want the same thing, and that's the divide. Because as a man and a woman, you shouldn't sometimes, in my opinion, want the exact same thing. You have to each give different things to make it like a whole. And I think right now, there's so many similarities between a man and a woman that it can lead to bad things sometimes. So
you painted a perfect picture. That's exactly my idea as well in terms of why they're not getting along. We actually have some really good comments in.
Yeah, let's read some of those.
I love seeing you two together, but the problem is Kevin went in on black women and told us that we have no value past 30. We're definitely going to get into.
We're going to get into that. Please stay here. Yes.
And another comment. That's because men and women have expectations of the other, and the other doesn't know what the expectation is, or does it? Yeah, I mean, there's a problem. There's a disconnect between expectations of both parties. And I think. Oh, there's actually another one.
That's a good one.
He taught men not to value past age. On top of that, not want us to be us. If we had different color hair, long nails, education, we are worth it. I would say Kevin Samuels was very, very provocative
on purpose.
I mean, we were talking about the NBA a couple minutes ago. Skip Bayless, Stephen A. Smith, not even current or retired players like JJ Reddick, Draymond Green. This is how it is. Okay, so pull the wool back on content creation, right? Hey Joe is a content creator. I am a content creator sometimes, and we know if we say something outrageous, We put an outrageous title. We say something controversial. We know you're going to click it.
Yes.
You're going to spend more time on it. We need you to get an emotional reaction for you to watch our stuff.
And we want you to disagree. If you disagree with us more, you'll actually watch and engage. So a lot of these people do that on purpose.
Yeah. Even, we will say something just to say you're wrong. Like I will say, I hate fried chicken. It does not taste good. Fight me in the comments or something like that. Put that in as a clickbait. You would click it even if you like fried chicken. Just to see, what is this idiot talking about fried chicken?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of what Kevin Samuel was doing was playing the game. And they all do it. It's the TV networks are doing it. The newspaper is doing it.
He was playing the game, but I think some of what he said, when you peeled back the layers of his provocativeness and his like some things he'd say for shock value.
Yeah.
Some things hit you because they're true, right? So some of the things he was saying, he was speaking some facts on some topics, in my opinion, and other things he was talking out of his ass. But it's all a matter of perspective. But I think that some would just as many that would say he was good for black women or men would say he was bad for black women and men, right? I think it's very split, probably. I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm not a black woman or man, but based on things I've seen, I've watched enough of him. I think that's why it made him so polarizing, is because he attracted both sides, whether you hated him or you loved him. But that's why he got so popular.
A lot of engagement. And that's another thing too about YouTube, about any kind of form of media. The more engagement you can bring in, that's why we always say, hey guys, hit the like button, share. Yeah. We need more engagement builds. And I think with the Kevin Samuels thing, and actually, let me just take a step back. Don't let anybody make you feel a certain way based on whatever content they put out. That is of a politician talking nonsense, getting you all emotional, getting you all upset. Kevin Samuels telling you what black women should do. And that this is just opinions of one man. Yeah. And I think a lot of people who had some issues with Kevin Samuels, because a lot of people worshipped him. You should worship no man, no woman. You should not worship another human being.
Great point.
I'm not the most spiritual of all of us, but I think a lot of people worship Donald Trump, right? Some people worship AOC. That's unhealthy. Some people worship Bernie Sanders. They're flawed human beings. They're not perfect, and some of them are complete hypocrites. You do not know how they are behind closed doors, and I think don't take take the good with the bad. It's like what Paige was saying. There's some good pieces of what you may say. They may say, you may disagree with everything, but don't let it affect who you are as a person, how you handle things, how you treat people. That's very important. I just want to kind of put that out there.
Yeah, great point.
But let me show some videos, because as many people, I think I saw one comment in saying that from Stable, Kevin Samuels criticized men as just as much as women. He had a classic video titled "Things Your
great point.
Taught You," one of his greatest videos. So I got one video he's going to talk about. Let me see. Hopefully I forgot to label these, but let's see. I'm gonna put two videos and then we'll go on.
Huh?
You have a big dick?
I mean, it's above average. I ain't know Ron Jeremy.
No. I asked you if you had a big dick. I didn't say it was above average.
I don't know what that is, really.
You know if you got a big dick or not. Stop the bullshit. Every dude know whether or not he got a big dick. I know I got a big dick. You don't know?
I mean,
you don't have a big dick. That's the point. You don't have a big dick. You don't have a big wallet. You a fat dude. And you got a lot of nerve thinking you should get choosing centers at 5'10" and 300 pounds, making less than $1,000 a month at 20 years old. And women should approach you. What they get, they don't even get a big dick.
So that's a lot of what that's his content. So
hold on, let me say something.
Yeah.
Is he wrong? Let me ask you, is he wrong? Let's be real for a second, because I know people will appreciate it.
Yeah.
You're a dude, you make less than $1,000 a month, you're overweight, and you can't please your woman. Let's just whatever, because that doesn't even equate. It doesn't matter if you're big or small, whatever.
Yeah.
But do you deserve a dime piece? What do you think? What do you say?
No, he's not confident. there's no confidence in his.
There's no confidence.
There's no
Women want
there.
confident, right? So
you may not need any of that, but you have to have the confidence. Now, if you're looking for a real relationship, you're going to have to be able to provide you at least the ability to provide, that you care about yourself. You're taking care of yourself, taking care of your body. So a lot of that kind of falls into a relationship. If you even trying to cut, like, see, like we were talking about Antonio Brown. He may be a lunatic, but he's very attractive because he has a lot of money, right? He takes care of himself.
He's got swag. He's got confidence.
And
So even if you speak ridiculous nonsense, if you walk in a room with confidence, and with men, I think, in my opinion, it don't even matter what you look like, right? Listen, you could be overweight like that guy was, but if you got money, you smell good, you got swag, maybe you got a nice suit on, and you got that BDE, right? You're gonna pull women. But you have to have you gotta have two of the three things. If you don't have any of the three, you're probably not gonna attract the woman that you probably might want. And I think that's just, there's no harm in saying that. I think that's the reality,
Yeah. And I would say, like, he had a few where he would talk to men and be as provocative, but more women called into the show. Now, that could have been who he picked.
I think it was by design, yeah.
What was saying, by design, where he knew that this is what the audience want. He fed the audience what they wanted. So think about that. We kind of attacked the messenger, right? Because he's creating the content, and maybe he could have been more, I don't know, what was a word where he bring more people together. Even though he thinks he was. I remember seeing a few videos where he was like, I'm bringing people together. I'm building relationships. But what if you've been more like I guess more of a nice way of doing it. I'm trying to think of a person that
I think he brought people together. I just think he did it in a very controversial or emotionally charged way. But he did bring people together, in my opinion. It just wasn't how everybody might have wanted it. It wasn't rainbows and sunshines.
Okay.
But I do think I will challenge you on that. I do think he brought people together. It just was in an emotional charged way. And when you bring a man and a woman together and they're not ready to listen because they're emotionally charged and they want to be heard versus listening, that's where a lot of that controversy came on his channels and his lives. And I think a lot of his members were men, but a lot of the people that watched and called in were women, and there's a reason for that.
Yeah, I wish I could see his analytics and how many men and women were checking out, but it could have been 50-50. It could have been probably a little bit more, because YouTube skews male for some interesting reason. I don't know if I knew that was the case maybe a year or two ago, maybe the same, but it's interesting because I know women who watch YouTube as much, but I don't know. It seems like it's a male skewed thing, so you probably have a little more male. Let me see. I'm sure I got one more video real quick to see what this one is about.
I myself a solid 9.8.
Being pretty is not enough for a lot of men because I'm pretty and I'm still single. So
what do you want?
I don't know. I really don't know what I want, because these men, they don't know what they want. A lot of men don't know what they want in women.
And you said you're how old again?
33.
33. So regardless as to what men want, you don't know what you want?
I mean, I know what I want, but...
And what is that? Guys, remember the first thing I said about ego? They're not willing to be honest.
To be honest with you, I ain't gonna lie. I don't know what I want in a man. Like, I've been screwed and fucked for so long, I don't know what I want in a man.
Just in this little bit of time of talking to you, it's been chaotic. I'm just asking you just the basic stuff about who you are and what you want. And the way you told the story is, you can't make this shit up, people.
Okay.
Listen, hold on. I gotta say that second girl was cute. I thought, let me just get that out the way.
Yeah, and it was edited, so we didn't have the full flowing conversation.
Right,
basically was saying that you're all over the place. Which another thing too about this, he's not a doctor. He's not a professional relationship, like in terms of a doctor, in terms of studied. So a lot of it is him saying very provocative things. He could say it's a way to wake the person up, but it's always a way of delivery. And the delivery was because he knew that the one video that got him like super viral success, where he told a woman, you are average at best.
Yeah. He would undress people and he would call them Big Bertha, right? And he would make fun of women that were wearing like the shower caps and what do you expect? And you want a high value man, but you're a 6. And, he would go at people and, it was definitely entertaining. I think he knew that. Like you said, he's not a licensed therapist, a doctor. He's a life coach. Basically he's a life coach and a brand guy. Image consultant, yeah.
Whatever that was.
Yeah.
He's a YouTuber. All right. He's like one of us. He was very successful at it, obviously.
Yeah.
But he was becoming very mainstream. He was on shows. He was on Atlanta. He had episode. I saw that he was getting there, and then hypertension and not taking care of his body, or it could have been just what happens, and then he had some kind of heart issue.
Yeah.
But one of the problems one of the critiques I have, and that's the thing about making content. I want as many people to watch as possible. But I don't know if I'm good enough to just try to say the most outrageous thing for someone to come in and check the stuff out.
Well, because you have a moral compass and you're a good guy. I think some people like him, I don't know him, so I'm not going to slander his character, but he's just like, I'm gonna go all out, and not everybody's willing to do that. Yeah. I mean,
and I think one of the issues I have a problem with is the people who worship. And that goes with everything. I'm not I'm not a very religious person, but when anyone gets a little fanatical about either a political figure or some kind of movement, any movement, I'll be honest, any movement weirds me out. Like, why are you not questioning this more? Why are you going to this protest? Do you know all information before you do this? Like, why are you deciding to, go to some kind of restaurant and go flip out and so do we got all the facts before we're going to do this crazy stuff, guys? Like, it's because, your leader said something that you need to react this way. And I feel like Kevin Samuel fans, I think many of them have some trauma. They have been hurt by a person, probably hurt by a woman. Then they start having these ideas. All women are evil, or all women are out to get you, or, they only care about A, B, and C. And I need, and I feel like that kind of energy makes you, if you already have a contempt or resentment for women, how are you going to be able to get a really good relationship?
It's like it's the Trump effect. Trump said crazy things, but a lot of people that are like, oh, I thought like that. Now he's saying it. Oh, now I'm gonna go all out. Like there's that celebrity superstar. You look at him like a deity. It's like, oh, I love that. I'm gonna worship this man, Kevin Samuels, Trump, whoever it is, right? And you get these lower educated people to follow you like that, and that's what you get. Like you get the crazies.
It's men, and we're gonna talk about men for a second because we both are men. And actually, we'll answer this question real quick. Give us a story of how you guys came to know each other. Basically, we just met on YouTube, right?
We saw. So the first video I saw Hannibal was probably about a year and a half ago, maybe a little bit less, and he was talking about. I remember this, and I don't know why I do, but I do. And he was talking about parking your car in a direction of where when you get in it, we're talking food delivery here because we both in a gig economy. Parking your car in a direction that makes sense so you can get out efficiently. And I was like, oh, who's this dude? Yeah, I do that. And I remember commenting in the video, and he'd watch some of my stuff. I'd watch some of his stuff. And then eventually it was like, this dude's cool as fuck. I got to get to know this guy. And then we just been developing this relationship basically on YouTube. So
yeah, I mean, eventually we'll actually see each other in the flesh. But yeah, it's kind of like that kind of dynamic kind of came together. But about men, I feel like it's an issue with young men looking for leadership. So they will go to anyone that looks strong and confident, well dressed. I mean, Kevin Samuels, I don't know how much money he would spend on those suits. They were not cheap. You could look at him.
I've never seen Kevin's. I've never seen him not well dressed ever.
Yeah, but that's the thing about Trump too. You think Trump is always in the suits because that's image. That's on purpose. The only time he didn't have a suit on when he played golf. Everywhere he went, he wanted everyone to see him in a dress in a power suit with a power tie. Image is extremely important. Clearly, I don't care about image. I got a rag on my head.
Neither do I. I gotta look at it. I mean, come on, guys. Yeah, we don't. That's not for me. For me, I don't try to spend a lot of time thinking about what I'm going to wear because I'm trying to spend that time doing other things. So it all depends on where you're at, right?
Well, also the brand, but I think with young men are looking for guidance, they're lost. A lot of the society is kind of put them in a position where, again, we can go with the stats of men, drug use, suicides, just a general feeling of being lost. When that happens, and a person could come in, tell you, I know who the enemy is. It's not you. It's A, B, and C over there.
Yeah.
They are the ones you need to get mad at. That's how you get young men to do stuff. And that's what World War II, I mean, in Germany, there was a guy that was telling the young men, hey, you know why the economy sucks and how we are all in this bad situation? A, B, and C, mostly A. They are the problems. You're young, you're 19, 20 years old, you don't know anything, you don't have any money, you may never have a family yet. This is how you're able to control people.
Yeah.
And
great point.
It's not us 40-ish, like, nah, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Or let me think about this before I come back to you. You know what I mean? It's young, ambitious, horny men, and they're like, I gotta prove myself. I got to, be a man. I gotta take on the world. I gotta get some kind of glory. Those are the people who and I think many of them are in that chat. And also people who have been burned in relationships and divorce, that kind of thing.
Yeah, because you're looking for answers. You're looking for somebody to lead you because there's a insecurity, slight or not, right? And you're looking for that because you don't feel good about yourself. And I think we all have that on a certain level. Maybe not all, but a lot of people have that. We have insecurities. Everybody has insecurity about something. And when you hear somebody that appears to be confident, looks the part, right? Even if you don't know them and you know even how much money they have and how good their life is and how their relationships are and how they treat people outside of the internet, when you see that, it's like, ooh, I want more of that because it makes you feel good. It gets you that dopamine hit of like, oh, he's saying what I want to hear, right? And it gets you going, and that's, you get the fans and you get the people watching, you get the people supporting, and in history shows us that there's a lot of people, men mostly, I think, that garner this type of like fame and support for being bold in that way, right? And emotionally charged, and makes you like really angry or very passionate one way or the other,
Yeah. In terms of Kevin Samuels' legacy, now it's always going to be a complicated one, but what I got out of a lot of the stuff I've heard and some of the viral clips, and I never subscribed to his channel. I know he used to come on a few hours. He used to live stream a lot.
Yeah.
But the overall perspective or the overall idea, I don't have any issues with women. I think majority of my relationships with women were positive. I've never been necessarily in any situation where I was like, I can't, to a point where I would have any resentment towards women. Women have treated me pretty well. I think for what Kevin Samuels was trying to do was get people to have more realistic expectations on what they want. Like he was asking the young lady, what do you want? You kind of reverse engineer. Well, I want a husband. Okay. Well, then you may have to do A, B, and C. You have to go a different direction where you're approaching people with the expectation of I'm dating to marry. It's going to be difficult to date to marry if you're just talking to people and dating around. Like there's two different modes. I think also just the expectation of what you bring. I know women hate this term, what you bring to the table, but both men and women have the same thing. What are you going to bring? So if you're a young man and you just starting out in life, you may not be able to pull 9s and 10s because you don't have anything to offer right now.
Well, most people don't pull 9s and 10s. That's the thing.
Perfect.
That's not reality. Like most people are 5s and 6s, bro. Right? Like, come on, let's. You know what I'm saying? Like neither one of us are a 9 or a 10. We're average dudes. You know what I'm saying? Like models pull 9s and 10s, and models date other models, but that's not. We look at this. we look at these movies and Facebook and Instagram, and we think that everything is so perfect and 9 and 10. We got this false identity of what a body should be like, and these magazines put this is what you should look like. That's not real. That's the 5% or less. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and it's so, and I think another really big blame is on the social media, the internet.
Yeah.
We are looking at pictures. We're able to swipe like left and right at will. We're not really meeting a person. We're not talking to the person.
Mm-hmm.
We're not as social as we used to be. That brings it to, well, we're just going to argue online. We're going to argue on Twitter. We're going to argue on YouTube. We're not talking to people, because when we do go outside, when you go to Walmart or you go to a restaurant, whatever, you go somewhere, we all generally getting along, right? You walk in a Target, you'll see, I mean, every once in a while McDonald's. That's why I like going to McDonald's. You may see an argument or two, but you go to the parks, you go to the beach, and everyone, different colors and sizes and shapes, and
you're opening the door for somebody. Thank you. You're checking out. Hey, have a good day. Look, we're all mostly good to each other. But everybody's an internet tough guy, because it's easy to hide behind a keyboard and type some hate and talk some shit. But in real life, most people don't do that because they'll get slapped in the face.
Exactly. So we have some level of manners, but I think when the internet, you bring all of the and sometimes the positive, but a lot of your problem. Like, you had a bad day, you're gonna go on and probably put a really crappy comment on underneath someone's video or underneath someone's post. Another set of content creators, Fresh and Fit. I'm not sure if you've seen their stuff.
I've heard of them. I don't watch them. I've seen them on like TikToks and here and there, but I'm not like, I know what their channel's kind of about, but I've never really watched their stuff besides small snippets of things I've seen in other places.
Yeah, they're a little bit more of Kevin Samuels, but not as refined, and they're way more controversial. They're like, a little bit more, again, a caricature on what they think an alpha man or a well-successful man will behave.
Have you heard of the guy Andrew Tate?
Oh, I was actually making a video about him, but we could definitely talk about it here, because that's very fascinating, because he's making a lot of money with his affiliate marketing, and I was going to make a video because I feel he has a guru cult kind of following going on.
He seems to have it. He's everywhere right now. Like you can't. He's everywhere. We need to have a discussion about that.
We'll talk about that next week. Actually,
I think we should. I've actually listen. I just got to be real with y'all, because maybe some of y'all don't like Andrew Tate. I'm not saying I like the guy, but I've seen a lot of stuff on him, and he's of the 7 Kevin Samuel lineage, in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
And he says, in my opinion, way more controversial things than Kevin Samuel says.
Yeah, but I feel like it's on purpose, right? Like he is doing it again, like we were saying before. To do well in this space, you need attention.
Yeah, he gets a lot of it.
You get attention by saying outrageous things. But yeah, we'll definitely get into that. I think especially because a lot of young men will argue online to the death of defending him and his ideas and stuff that. So Gigaholic Rex had a really good comment. Dating today is nothing like in the past. A 21-year-old son complains it's all through social media. Younger generations doesn't interact as much as we used to, and that's true. I mean, and another one, social media ruined dating and serious relationships. Instagram is one of the biggest. And Instagram is not even real. You're getting the best altered photos of each other.
Yeah.
To make it seem like we are more attractive or more interesting than we really are, and we're all just average. And if we all just had this, temper our expectations, temper our the woman said she was 9.5.
She was and that's the thing. It's like let me be honest. When she said that, I personally, everybody's scale's different, right? Like we all have different scales. I think generally speaking, most people would say she's not a 9.5, but that doesn't mean she isn't to several other people, right? It depends on who you are, because I'll tell you this: if you're a dude that maybe looks less than a 9.5, let's say you're a dude and you're a 4, and you see her at a club, to that 4, she a 9.5, right? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But like to other people, maybe she's not. So it just depends on what you like. You know, the size of the woman, the smile. Do you like a big booty like Hannibal? Do you like a nice smile? Like, did you like a nice smile and nice eyes like
Yeah.
Pedro? You know what I'm saying? Like, it just depends on what you like. But like, this whole scale thing is just kind of screwed anyway because it's all personal. It should be personal, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I can look at my girl, and for me, she's a 10. For me, because she has all the qualities, because it's not just physical. So it depends on superficial. Are you looking for just looks? Or do you want somebody that like physically you can be attracted to, but then also emotionally that you can have conversations, they're kind to you. It's all adds up to a 10. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
if we're talking just physical, it's one thing. And I think too much of us, because of social media, Instagram and all these things, and Snapchat and TikTok, that's what we're looking at first, you know? And back in the day, like we talked about earlier, like I mentioned, relationships are different and people are getting divorced more. Roles are not quite as defined. They're a little more murky.
Yeah.
Listen, back in the day, you picked who you wanted to be with based on like actual like things you had in common. And do you think that's going to be a good provider? Do you think do you think that person is going to be a good mom, a good dad? Do they have the same moral compass as you? Do they have the same belief system? Do they want the same things? Nowadays, it's like, are they a 9 or are they a 10? The big thing on TikTok now is, I'm sure you've seen this and you guys can say in the chat, they'll ask a question. Like I'll ask Hannibal a question like, she's a 10, but she smokes and she drinks and she's got one leg. And it's like a funny joke. You say, oh, well, if she's all those things, well, then really she's a 3. So we're like even mocking how we view somebody physically based on other traits. And it's crazy, man. Like it's nuts, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. My son is 8. He doesn't look at he's not in any social media. I got to hold him back. I know, you know, some people say you should expose and don't, it's not good for their mental health. I think that's the reason why so many people are so upset and frustrated. It puts everyone in a bad space. So like even me, I'm trying to hold on. He don't care about it right now. He's only 8. He cares about YouTube, which, you know, I got just check to make sure he's watching the right channels.
Yeah, because you can still watch stuff on YouTube.
Oh yeah, he loves Sniper Wolf, and I'd be like, I know why you watch Sniper Wolf. You're like, she's funny. I'm like, no, she isn't. I know why you're watching Sniper, because she's not funny. I mean,
I don't even know what that is, but I'm about to
look it up.
Tonight.
She does reaction channels. She's a reaction channel. She's very attractive chick.
Okay.
But she's very anime with her voice, so I think that's what kids, you know, big anime, fast talking, kind of have like little Mr. Beast kind of speed of cuts to clips where it's too fast for me. I'm just too old. I'm like, that's just yelling at the screen. But yeah, I'm trying to keep him off of that as much. I don't want his sense of worth to diminish by, you know, like Tinder, for instance. If you set up a Tinder account and you're swiping and you get no matches, you may say it doesn't bother you, but that doesn't affect you.
How can it not?
Where you could have went out to a club or a bar or to a bookstore and may actually got a number if you actually went and talked to some people, but you didn't. Either you're not, you know, socially comfortable and you're not, but you on that phone swiping, and there's a point you're not even like looking. You're just like, I'll just swipe with whoever swipes me with match out, and you get no matches. That messes with your mind. And I think how the apps, these algorithms are there to keep you emotionally addicted to your phone. So then once in a while, they will throw you a match, but then you send a message, you may not even get a message back. It's a whole thing.
Are you speaking from experience?
I
know you're not. I know you're not. It's all right. It's all right.
Well, listen. To a certain extent, I think.
Yeah.
But as much as I complain about the internet, I learn a lot about everything through the internet of watching YouTube channels where they'll say, hey man, you really shouldn't be on any of these apps, or you should take a break from your phone when you're doing something important, put the phone in the other room. So like this give and takes. It depends on your diet. Either your diet is going to be all fast food, or you're going to take care of yourself with good diet. And that's watching and listening. Where is, I think it's, it absolutely destroys someone's self-confidence. Marissa, hey Marissa, how you doing? No time to see what's right in front of you. We're going too fast.
We're going too fast.
Too fast. That's what I was looking for, Pedro. That's why I was looking for you. You went deeper with just the physical. Yeah, I mean that's the most important part, because looks will go. You know, I'm in a happy relationship. You know, Pedro's in a happy relationship. I think relationship test was definitely 2 years ago. If you was able to hang with your partner and didn't want
Yeah.
to strangle them,
Yeah.
you're good because you were stuck with that person and you couldn't leave. But then a lot of people did leave, but you weren't supposed to leave because it was locked down. But
Yeah. Yeah.
that was the pressure cooker. And if your relationship lasts throughout that situation, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Stay forever. Like we're gonna leave now. Like you went
Yeah.
through the worst.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's the worst.
It took me a while because I've been married before. I'm divorced. We were only married for a few years, man. Like it wasn't good. But like for me, I had relationships where it was like physical. Like it's like I'm attracted to you, you're attracted to me. It's a physical relationship. And there wasn't a lot past that. I've had relationships where I wasn't as physically attracted to the woman, but like I was like emotionally just so invested and like they're awesome and they're great. And I'm learning things, they're challenging me. We have in-depth conversations, but like I'm not as physically attracted. So it's tough because I think a lot of us, we want to be. I think physical attraction and like, making sure your sex life's good, whatever, that's super important, right?
Right.
It doesn't mean that that person has to be a 10. They just need to be a 10 for you, but there has to be a physical connection, right? There has to be something there. Otherwise, long term, I think there will be some issues, whether it's cheating or disinterest. But at the end of the day, like I always struggle with like, okay, I need a woman to look like this. And I would just wait and whatever. And I wouldn't put enough time into like getting to know them or whatever. And then once I started being like, you know what, like I need to like get past the physical stuff. And then once you like meet somebody you really love, then the physical stuff comes, so it takes a while, I think, for men to figure that out because we're so geared to look at like the booty and the boobs and we want this, we want the hips, we want, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like, we're so like, just the way the world's designed on what we look at is like that. All the media, the ads, the actresses, the billboards, like everything that we see, sex sells, right? And it gives us a false sense of like reality. And guys like our age, with porn and stuff on the rise, and like it's so easy to get it. It's free.
I'm happy.
I mean,
I lived the time I lived because I was just arguing. I think I even told you about this. You can go on Twitch, and Twitch is a streaming platform for video games for the most part. It has some other stuff too.
And they got girls with their tits out, right?
In pools. Like now they're not naked, but they're basically in bikinis. If I was 15 years old watching that, I would not leave the house. Why would I go anywhere? Why would I leave the house?
That's the thing. I mean,
and they talk to you sometimes, they send a little message. They'll say, "Hey, honey, what are you doing? Why am I leaving the house?"
I told my girlfriend, like, listen, like I'm glad that I'm glad I'm not 20 or 21 or 25 right now. It would be bad for somebody like me because at that age I wasn't emotionally ready for certain things and I wasn't emotionally smart enough. I wasn't, you know what I'm saying? I had insecurities, but you don't think you have them. You're young. You just want to
figure it out.
Want to go out. You want to go to clubs. You know what I'm saying? But like it's so easy now. It's easy now. Like it's easy, right? And you have so many things afforded to us with the click of a button, a video, Twitch. You can just watch everything. It's free. You can see who you want. You can pick and choose what the girl looks like. It's crazy, man. Like it's like on steroids, and it's really scary if you think about it.
Yeah, and I think it's important to let people know, like, hey, you don't have to spend your time doing this. This is not real. Now they got the metaverse. You put on a headset. It's getting crazy. I think we still need to live in reality and realize that the internet is not as real as it seems. You can still go outside and talk to people, even people you disagree with 110%. You would act differently when you saw them in flesh, and you may have a different conversation about something you have in common. Going back to the idea of compatibility is the most important part. What your values are, what principles you stand by. Those are most important when you are with someone long term. You need to have the same level of values, what you care about, what's important. Those things carry along, which is very interesting about arranged marriages. Arranged marriages last longer than marriages based on love. Why? They had to work together. First, because they weren't necessarily bound by liking each other. They were just, hey, you gotta come over here. And you're like, all right, we'll figure this out. But then they learn to live with each other. They learn to love each other, and they last long, which is weird. But the math is kind of weird because there's way more marriages probably happening with love or compatibility rather than arranged. But the arranged marriages, they don't divorce it. And those is a culture thing too. But
well, I think you just said it. A lot of it's cultural or religious as well, right? Religious belief systems, and they're very different than the Western how we do it over here, you know. But I think in those kind of marriages as well, like I said in the beginning, they're a little more traditional, right? And I think what we have to understand is when we get all these great things, right? Women's movements and all these things, and now men are more in tune with their feelings than ever before, going to therapy more, and women are working more and have more rights. Like, these are great things, right? But when you shake up that ball as much as we have in the last 50, 60 years, right? I'm not saying it's bad, but when you shake that up, the relationships and how they work are also going to be shifting and changing. And that's what we're dealing with right now. And that's why the marriage rates are crazy, and the promiscuity is crazy, and like people don't stay together and they're cheating, and you got all these plural marriages, and the guy's got 5 wives, and it's on TV. There's TV shows about it. Like, it's just so different now because the roles have really changed in the last even just 20, 30 years. They just have. And there's a lot of different reasons for that, but you know, they just have.
You know what? And hopefully we'll all kind of work itself out. You know, the human beings are adaptable. We can adapt to certain things. So it may not seem that way, especially if you spend too much time your diet, watching, listening to a lot of negative stuff. You feel like humanity is going, in the crazy situation, especially now with the financial stuff. But humans usually find a way to figure it out. And I think if that's the motto of this podcast, we will figure it out. Antonio Brown will figure out how to rap to make it interesting. Like, he will find a way to at least talk about your experiences. Rap about football. I don't know. At least be something more interesting. I don't know. We'll see. Well,
Hannibal will be the one to figure it out between the two of us. I can't give you all that. Hannibal will figure it out. He's your guy. I'm the guy that's going to
play for the Giants. Homeboy, my quarterback needs someone to throw a ball to. I mean, you got a decent team. You got Saquon, Daniel Jones go AB. Yeah, you're not going to win. New York City, your rapping career can help because there's a lot of rappers like Joey Badass can help mentor you a little bit.
Joey Badass ain't helping.
No, like Nas and Queens. Oh, he's like, hey, listen, that whole flow is whack. Like, stop. You're not how old is AB? You're not 20 years old.
He's probably got to be 34 or something. My guess is he's 34. I could be wrong.
Get your stuff together, AB. Like, get your ball. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He said, stop dribbling. He should play football. He should play football. But on that note, actually, we went over an hour, which is great. This was a great conversation. Listen, we could talk about Andrew Tate. And also, I didn't even show you the Russell Wilson picture. I guess we'll talk about that next episode.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. And this is a great channel to kind of come in and have a nuanced conversation. And I think it's going to be a wonderful thing. So yeah, we're back. I think regular time. We're gonna go live. I think live is where it's going to be at. Live Wednesday at 10 o'clock.
So let me ask you, so that you guys watching, do you guys like the lives? Whoever's watching on a replay, let us know in the comments. If you're watching on a replay for however long, let us know what kind of topics do you guys like. Like, we talk hip hop here. We're going to talk sports. We'll talk relationships, men, women, right? We'll talk about like those kind of topics and hot topics and things like that and break it down, but let us know. And I think the lives is kind of where it's at because we get to live chat with you guys. But even the people watching the replay, let us know, what do you think about the channel? Like, give us some feedback, right? Let us know in the comment section. So
definitely. And real quick, do you know of this duo here?
Hold up. What are your opinions on? I don't know. What does that mean? I don't know. I have no idea. Am I out of touch?
MF Doom, rapper. I don't know if you know. And Madlib.
MF Doom. Oh, I know MF Doom.
Yeah, I love Madlib. Like, he's one of the greatest producers.
I gotta look that up.
Oh, we got some homework for Pedro. We're gonna check that out. And Big Crit as well.
Hold on. Let me write that down. The first one was
Big
Kirk.
Crit. Maybe I should type it in. I'll type it in.
And
Big Crit, and then I'll put
I see it. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So Pedro's gonna come up with a full breakdown of both. You got the duo MF dude. Yeah, definitely. He passed away.
Y'all giving me homework, man. Like what? I'm 40. I'm a 40-year-old man. Y'all give me homework.
Yeah, we got people. We got a few people. Loving the lives.
Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll be back. Next week. We're gonna have a lot. I guess we have a lot to talk about.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about the Usher stuff, right? A little bit.
Yeah, we'll talk about R&B. I think we're gonna have our own episode of just talking about R&B. Because we have some ladies now, so we can. It's not just sausage party. We actually have all types. It's not just
shout out to all the ladies.
You should have been a DJ.
No, listen, I'm good.
Don't worry, we'll talk about it later. But on that note, guys, thank you for taking time, staying the entire live. Appreciate it. If you have not subscribed, we went past 200 subs.
Thank y'all for that.
Appreciate that.
Thank y'all.
This thing is growing. This is a highlight of my week, talking about something other than the thing that we talk about the majority of the time during the week.
Same.
But on that note, have a fantastic night, and we'll see you guys next week.
See you.